lost today, but you guys were able to finish these last 2 innings strong, and overall, so 2 out of 3, just your thoughts on the weekend as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, we're wanted all 3. Obviously, we had a strange night last night with the weather, and we're able to come back today and put up a couple runs and hold on there for an emotional win there to start the day. I thought every indication was we were going to bounce back and use that momentum coming into the second game today, and we didn't. Had a nice start where we came back and bounced back and put 2 runs on the board, but we just offensively didn't have a very good approach, or we got away from our approach for 5 or 6 innings there, which can't happen. So we weren't able to do much, and we made some mistakes defensively that cost us a little bit, and gave up quite a few barrels on the offensive or pitching standpoint. We just, I guess the only silver lining was the fact that we didn't quit, batted and put up 5 in the 9th there, and kind of made it interesting. But yeah, that was we were hoping to get all 3.
The last 2 innings, you did get to bring in some of the younger guys, and Tyler Meyer, who I know has been battling injury, but Max Arlich and some of the younger bats. Do you think they gave you a little bit better mojo going into Tuesday than if you had kind of not performed as well?
Well, I mean, we're trying to keep those guys A, involved, and B, sharp as we possibly can. There's guys that of course want to play, and they all want to play, and it's tough when every game you feel like is necessary to win. You try to go with, most of the time you're going to go with your guys that are proven and have done it, and you trust. But sometimes they need a kick in the butt too, and these other guys need an opportunity at times, and that's something I got to evaluate.
When we were talking to Landon Harrison, he said he had never played in a situation like this where you have 2 games in one day, finishing off a game from the night before. How did you kind of bring the juice to your guys and get them energized heading into a big moment in the bottom of the 7th?
I didn't need to bring anything. They were well aware of the situation coming into today, and they were. I didn't need to pep talk them or anything. They were in a good spot mentally, and they were able to come out and get it done. I think that emotional high probably hurt us going into the next game, being that we kind of, I won't say let our foot off the gas, that's not the right word, but it was an emotional night last night, and come out on top today was great. But like I said, I was hoping we would carry that momentum into game 2, and just didn't perform the way we were supposed to.
The top 2 guys in the order were the only guys to get 2 award hits today. How has their consistency just helped you kind of set the tone for the rest of the batting lineup?
That's why they're hitting up top. They do set the tone pretty well, and tough outs and put together good at bats. So we need some other guys to step up and do what they do.
Landon Harrison has kind of been the freshman this year that's been towards the top in terms of batting. The last true freshman to finish the season batting over 300 was Ryan Campos all those years ago. What does that kind of say about just how he sees the ball and his performance 35 games into the season?
I've said it several times. He reminds me a lot of Ryan Campos, just with his eye-hand coordination, awareness of the strike zone, bat-to-ball skills are all phenomenal. And I think he's a true professional hitter at a young age, and it's hard to find. He's pretty dang good, and his power numbers are going to come as he continues to get older and stronger. But the kid just knows how to hit. He's pretty dang good.
You mentioned it already a little bit, but just how difficult is it mentally for the pitchers to have to pitch through some of those defensive mistakes?
It shouldn't be, because mistakes are part of the game, and we got to be mentally better than that. But I get more disappointed at our position guys. Like, man, we got to make plays for them. I mean, there's especially day games. When the ball's carrying here, we cannot give teams extra outs, and I'm sure we are. And I came back and bit us today a couple times, and plays that were makeable. I think they went down as hits, but they were. I think we all know that they should have been made. I think it could have been made. And it came back to bite us. I think they're in the 3rd inning. We gave up a 3-run homer right after that. Obviously you'd like to pitchers to pick up the position player on that play, but, you know, we're tough on our position guys. We need to make plays when the opportunity presents itself.
On the other side of the ball, what did you see from St. Petty that you think made him so effective today?
Again, we just chased below the zone too much, and we had a good approach in the first inning off of him and made him be up, and then I don't know if guys weren't recognizing as well, but we continued to chase the cutter slider that he had that was just below the zone, and we had way too much weak contact. And I think sometimes when you have early success off of an arm, you think it's going to be easy the rest of the way, and you get out of your game plan, and that's it's a sign of immaturity at times, and we preached upon that pretty much all year long, is get pitches above the zone and stay out from below the zone. But yeah, we just didn't do a great job of that.
Butler and Barrett came in after Jaden had a bit of a rocky start and were able to kind of calm the waters a little bit. Didn't really end up holding, but how did that sit with you, their performance today?
I thought those two threw the ball outstanding, and you know, Jaden was throwing the ball good. We just again, there's some play that we probably should have made, and it you know, 2 pitches later, it's a three-run bomb, and we're, you know, it's unfortunate for him, but you know, Josh and Easton came in and gave us a chance to get going offensively, and that was kind of the disappointing part. We're putting up zeros, and it's like, come on guys, let's go. They're giving us a shot to crawl right back in this game, and we couldn't string something together there for a few innings. We hit some balls hard, and then Jose lined out to center there after who hit the double. I think Boo hit the double off the wall, and then Jose lines out to center, trying to move him to third, and he lines out to center, and it's like there's not much you can do about that. And we had a couple of poor at bats after that, so. You know, there's things that we can certainly do better. We know that it's a work in progress, and but yeah, those 2 performance was good. We couldn't get the offensive production we needed.
Only 18 pitches for Easton, and you took him out after an inning and third. Did that have anything to do with potentially starting him in the midweek?
No, you know, we're taking one game at a time, and whatever it takes to win that game. And we felt he had done his job to get through those left-handers that we wanted him to get through. And then we brought in Gibby after that. Gibby hasn't been Gibby for a couple outings now, and it's a little bit worrisome, so we got to figure out what's going on with him. That kind of put us up against it a little bit after he came out.
Do you have a starter for Tuesday, or is that still?
We'll discuss it and talk about it and see who the best matchup is, but we have, you know, Easton will be probably able to, if we needed him to. Halvey's available, Shape's available. You know, Lucas Kelly, I didn't get in the game today. We were had him for the 8th and 9th, and got away from us there in the 8th, and I felt no reason to burn him today. Just you know, might see those guys again at some point in time, and if the game got closer, then I would have used him, but no sense using him in today's game with the way it worked out. He'll be available on Tuesday. We'll have a lot of arms available Tuesday.
When you want hitters to go through in-game adjustments, what kind of dialogue do you have either with a small group of players or somebody individually in terms of trying to have them have more success at the plate?
The dialogue?
Like what kind of dialogue do you have?
If I'm
with
being
players
truthful,
in-game?
get the damn ball up. Like, shit, guys, how many times you gotta hear it? Get the ball up of the zone. Quit chasing below the zone. I don't know how much more direct I can be with them on those type of things. And when you have success, when you do that, why would you get away from it? But again, these are part of the challenges of coaching and getting guys to be consistent.
Coach, Cole mentioned last night the possibility of getting the ball start off today. What was the timeline that you had when you finally made a decision to start with Cole for the resumption of the second game last night?
I knew we were going to do it when we left. And as soon as that situation, the second they called the game, I said, okay, we'll go to Carlone for 8 and 9. That's what we all agreed upon. It was a pretty easy decision. We didn't tell him until we got here today. I didn't want him staying on that and getting too excited. So we needed to get him to get some rest, and then we told him before the game.
And then with the power back, obviously from here yourself, how tough is that for someone to you have to play bases loaded too often and have to sleep an entire night thinking about that one at bat.
I asked Kyle about that this morning. Did you sleep last night? He said no. I thought about it till like 3 in the morning. And yeah, that's I've never experienced that, so I couldn't give him any advice on that. So I just say, man, go be you, go be Kyle Walker, and that's good enough. So he put together a great at bat.
Coach, on a different note, Luke Keyshaw collected his first big league hit yesterday. I think 20 or so minutes ago, he got an RBI double off Chris Sale. I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on that and kind of his quick progression through the minors and up into the big leagues.
Not surprised, just extremely happy for him. You know, since I've been here, you asked me one kid who I would bet my life on the fact that he would make it to the big leagues and be impactful, it would be him. So what he's doing, I'm stoked for him. You just cannot. There's just not many Luke Keishals in today's world. He just is a throwback kid, mentality-wise. Outworks everybody, outcompetes everybody, knows he belongs. Just a tough kid. He's the kind of kid that, man, if you could fill a clubhouse full of guys like that, you'd never lose. He just has that competitive motor that you don't find very often anymore. So. Not surprised that he's going to have a lot of success in the big leagues. He's just a great kid.
Coach, your first 3 guys in the ninth, the all pinch hitters, they reached base. Is there anything you told them, and what do you make of that performance?
I didn't tell him anything other than you're hitting. Go get a bat and go get you in a bat and make the most of it. So they did outstanding. All 4 of them, they did what they were supposed to do. The Jax Ryan base hit, Becca Zavorik base hit, McGarry walked, Rooster hit a sac fly. Kid almost dropped that, which would have made things really, really interesting. But you know, they did what they were supposed to do. I don't know, maybe I should have considered starting those guys.
Back in his 3rd game since his ankle injury, how good is it just seeing him get the barrel on the ball with good contact too?
Again, that's one of those kids I'm not overly surprised. You know, he's a grinder. Kid works hard and waits for his opportunities. He's been one of those freshman kids that just is, you know, behind some guys right now. He's behind Kyle Walker and, you know, those other guys that are playing well, and he's just kind of got to wait his turn and trying to figure out ways to get him in the game. But again, when you're up against it a little bit and you got to win every game, you go with the guys that have experience and have done well for you in the past. And but I also try to keep those guys as sharp as I possibly can. When there's opportunities to get them in there, I got to try to do it. And you know, it's hard to pinch hit for Toby and New and those guys that you know are your staples. But you know, in a lopsided game, you have to try to get those guys in there and keep them sharp and keep them fresh and shoot. They got a rally started, so it's a positive.
Another one of those guys that has kind of been waiting his turn to perform really well and give him a chance is Max Arlich. I know it's a small sample size, a 1.42 ERA. You got him to start a couple of weeks back. I know he was a pretty big flip for you guys, having previously gone to A&M. How do you think he's adjusted to pitching collegiately?
Yeah, he's doing great. You know, we're one of those guys that we're trying to get in there as much as we can and give him some opportunities and build his role as we go. I mean, he's done everything we've asked him to do, and he continues to have success. So his role will continue to expand.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.